Now let's go to this report in The Australian today revealing more than 100 staff members on Dan Andrews' government's suburban rail loop project are on salaries of at least $200,000 a year. And those 104 staff make up around 30% of the 352 staff employed by the Suburban Rail Loop Authority. So, John, we've got more than 100 staff being paid at least $200,000 per annum each for a project that is not really needed and, more importantly, the state can't afford it. I mean, is it any wonder Victoria has the highest debt of any state?
Well, that's right, Rita, and as we know, and as we've talked about a few months ago, Victorians endorsed that position. What Victorians are seeing is declining public services. As you said, they're seeing ballooning debt. They're seeing a massive expansion in the public sector that is not directed to the work of the public. It's for bureaucrats. And we have got a situation now where Victoria is not going to be able to afford this for much longer. And as you say, more fundamentally, we have railway projects and transport projects that are political projects about changing the demographics and the politics of the seats in Parliament where the transport is going to be running through. It's not much about public transport. It's not much about infrastructure these days. And the figures you've identified, Rita, are just an example of what Victorians are going through.
Now, just lastly, I want to get your opinion on this story I read in the ABC. It's an important story about 3 children stung by jellyfish, but what caught my eye is that the article and the headline said it happened at K'gari instead of Fraser Island. Indeed, Fraser Island was in brackets. Why is the ABC doing this, John? I mean, do we really want to go down the same path as New Zealand and rename everything?
Well, it's more than renaming, isn't it, Rita? It's something bigger, and it goes to what we just talked about in relation to the referendum. It goes to ways of dividing us. And in some circumstances, it might be appropriate to rename places and locations. But the point of it, the name of a place or a location, is that all of us know what it is, where it is. And when the ABC does this, they're doing more than just virtue signalling. They're demonstrating again their contempt for mainstream Australians and their desire to divide us and in some cases confuse us. There's nothing wrong with old place names that we know and we understand.
Absolutely. I asked a few people and no one had heard of that. No one. I asked people from all sorts of different backgrounds just to get a bit of an insight in case I'd missed a memo, but no. John Roskam, thank you so much for joining me tonight.